So the high level of what we're doing is we have an optical frequency reference here, which is a helium neon laser. It operates at 3.39 microns and is stabilized against transition in methane. It's built by some gentlemen out of the Lebedev Institute in Russia. It's good for 1 part in 10, frequency stability of 1 part in 10 to the 14 over 100 seconds. What we're going to do is we take the output from this laser and we're going to beat it against the output of this laser, and in doing so we're going to coherently down convert the high frequency of this laser down to output on this laser, which will be around 1 gigahertz. It's nicely in RF domain that we can count. This is a load lock laser. And so what this guy consists of is this is a titanium sapphire crystal with 4 dispersion compensating mirrors. We've also got a couple pieces of barium fluoride inside of the cavity that we also use for dispersion compensation. In fact, one of our pieces of barium fluoride is wedged, so we can continuously vary the dispersion compensation within the cavity. And actually, our wedge serves a third purpose, or a second purpose. It's also our output coupler. We use Fresnel reflection off of the piece of barium fluoride as our output coupler. We do that just because of the way the balance of the dispersion goes between the dispersion compensating mirrors that we have and the crystal for the size of resonator that we're using. Because it's just a Fresnel reflection, the output coupling is very flat, so we don't really have any opportunity to enhance any part of the output spectrum. But as you can see, it's reasonably broad as it is out of this blue curve over here. We don't quite have enough bit power on the spectral wings to do F2F self-referencing yet, but we're in the process of having some layers put on our wedge to enhance the output coupling on the wings, so we can extract all of that part of the spectrum, so we can do that operation, which we need to do to complete the setup here. So the output spectrum of our laser consists of discretely spaced modes at 1 gigahertz apart throughout all the way down from 1 gigahertz all the way up to 600 nanometers. So we take that output spectrum and we run it into a periodically cold lithium niobate crystal. So we can beat 1/2 of the visible output spectrum against the other half of the visible output spectrum. And by doing that, we create a cone at 3.39 microns, which we can then beat against our frequency reference in our photodetector. So we have our reference line and our generated cone, and we get an RF beat signal that we can arbitrarily vary by changing the length of the cavity, so that it's at a frequency that is compliant with our electronics. Once we get that, we can use our phase lock loop to lock the repetition rate, or the spacing between the modes to our frequency reference. And we do that by varying the length of the cavity in the laser, which changes the spacing, the frequency space between the modes in the optical or in the full domain. So then we'll have our cone will be fixed. The space between the lines will be fixed, but then we still need to locate it in the frequency domain. And to do that, we have to do the F2F self-referencing. So we take the low frequency portion of the output spectrum, and we frequency double that up to the high frequency portion of the spectrum, and we beat the two of them together, and the resultant beat node is this carrier envelope offset frequency, which defines where the cone sits away from zero. So once we have that, we'll have a frequency reference that spans from 1 gigahertz all the way up to 600 nanometers, absolutely referenced to the methane transition with a stability of 1 part in 10 to the 14, which is a factor of 10 worse than what used to be. Questions? mostly due to the acoustics of the room, temperature variations, things like that. Anywhere else?
Is Russia the only place you get that laser?
They're the only ones that make one that's transportable. So I mean, the entire thing is on the black breadboard right there. I mean, there's a couple electronics up on the rack here, but it's you could if you're really pressed, you could put it all on the board. So yeah, they're the only ones that make one that you can. It's like I said, it's transportable.
When you get it to work, what will it be used for?
It will be used for as just like I said, just as an optical frequency reference. You can take any signal that you want out of that's reflected light. You can shine this on something and get reflected light off it, or if you have some unknown source, you could use that, and then you would know exactly what that was because you have all these lines that are spaced a very well-defined distance apart.
How long have you been working for?
Maybe 8 or 9 months now, since about January.
So NIST has one operating, something similar to this?
NIST has pretty much the best one so far. That's what a setup similar to this is what John Hall and Mr. Hodge won the Nobel Prize for last year.
Are they using methane also?
You know, I don't know, to be totally honest with you. I don't know what they might be using an iodine stabilized immediately, but very, very likely it's using
Well, you can set your laser. You come here and you set your laser. You don't have to go to NIST to set this stuff.
That's right.